there's a brand new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles team. At the ending of last Ronin, the last of our original Turtles passed on. Mikey joined the rest of his brothers in the afterlife. But that left the daughter of April, Casey Marie Jones, with 4 brand new Turtles to be trained as the new generation. Written by the original writer of the Turtles, we now have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin 2. And today I'm bringing you the very first issue. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to join us on YouTube memberships for early access. Now let's get into the first issue. The Raider group rushes forward, but Casey Marie Jones is there, clad in her battle gear, leading her team of resistance fighters. "You idiots don't know when to quit, do you?" she snaps as she leaps forward, kicking one of the Raiders away. The rest of her fighters leap into the brawl, knocking the Raiders out of there, but taking care not to kill anyone. "Let's wrap this up, troops! Move and block the exits! I want at least one of these punks left conscious this time," Casey shouts. And one of the goons comes up behind her with a pipe, but Casey blocks it without even looking. She whirls around, grabbing the goon by the throat, lifting him into the air. "You're obviously not smart enough to be in charge, but smart enough to answer some questions," Casey growls at him, tossing him away and leaping back into the brawl. Moments later, the goons are all down and retreating. "Get out of here, all of you! Crawl back home and tell the others next time no one walks out of here!" Casey shouts after them and then turns back to her fighters, who have captured one of the goons, and orders them to take him away. "Haul his ass over to Commander Zaragaza's bunker. We need better intel. Tell the interrogation team to press him," Casey orders, and some of her fighters look at her, pointing out that the interrogations don't seem to be working and that they should be putting some of the Raiders down. Casey stares at them before turning away. "Maybe. Let's keep trying it my way for a little bit longer. Now, go get some rest. I'm heading home to check on my kids," she says before walking out of the warehouse. Meanwhile, below the city, Yi reaches out and lights a candle in the middle of the table. She looks around at her brothers. The others are standing there, with Moja pointing out that they should get back before Casey and April return to the lair and they get in trouble. Uno finishes his pizza, telling the group that they are teenagers and they're supposed to be rebellious. But Yi calls them to the table so that she can tell them the tale of their family history, as they promised to do when they discovered their own secret hideout. "Can you please mind talking? The pictures are cooler inside my head that way. So dramatic, like a comic book," Odin says with joy. Uno makes fun of the immature turtle, but Yi tells him to hush, and the team sits down, closing their eyes as Yi uses her telepathy to speak into their minds, talking about the past of the turtles. She tells them the tale of Oroku Nagi and Hamato Yoshi in the Foot Clan. How the love of a woman came between them and Yoshi was forced to kill Nagi in combat. Nagi's son Oroku Saki swore vengeance upon Yoshi and began to lead the Foot Clan with an iron fist, calling himself the Shredder as he made the Ninja Clan into a vast criminal empire. Yoshi and his family fled to New York City where they were hunted and killed. Their pet rat, Splinter, fled into the sewers where he discovered 4 turtles that were transformed by the mysterious ooze. Splinter raised and trained the turtles as his sons to fight against the Foot Clan for control of New York. Eventually, the turtles were killed in the war against the Foot Clan, with the only surviving member being Michelangelo, who escaped and became a Ronin. He would eventually return to New York and aid his old friend April O'Neil and her daughter Casey Marie Jones. Michelangelo would train Casey before going into his final battle against the last descendant of Shredder, Oroku Hiroto. Mikey would win but die in the final battle, leaving April and Casey behind to try and pick up the pieces of New York. But the pair discovered a new group of turtles, transformed by the ooze. The group was trained by both Casey and her mother, who hoped that this new group would help save the world. And we have trained ever since to carry on the honorable traditions of the Clan Hamato, Master Splinter, and Master Michelangelo, to always protect and serve our family, our friends, and our city. Yi thinks as she finishes the story. Uno smiles, patting his sister on the hand. "Not bad. Not how I would do it, but good enough," he says. Uno stands motioning for the group to head outside. "Anyway, it's getting late. Let's go," he says before Yi turns to the table, blowing out the candle. Meanwhile, April finds herself in the Resistance tunnels. She orders her foreman to send the workers home, knowing that everyone has been working hard and needs rest. She looks at Marley and Ahmed, asking them for an updated report on the work to reconnect the tunnels. But it isn't looking good. They're running out of fuel for the drills, and there aren't enough workers to finish the task. "We have way more work than people to do it," Marley tells her. April closes her eyes, sighing. "I'll speak with Commander Zaragoza and see if he can spare any more troops," April finally says, knowing that it will be hopeless, as the resistance teams are spread thin. Most people refuse to join, as they're more worried about surviving than rebuilding the city. And April finally calls it a night, turning to leave and return to her family. Above the city, the new team of turtles are leaping across the rooftops, worried that they might not make it home in time before April and Casey get there and they're going to get caught. "Hustle! Just a few more blocks!" Uno says in everyone's mind as they're still connected by Yi. They finally arrive at the manhole cover with their new underground home, and they slip beneath the city streets, careful to be unseen. Below, they find their home dark and quiet. "Still dark. No one's home yet," Uno says in everyone's mind. "Talk about luck," Moja thinks, but Odin frowns. "It'll be even luckier if Grandma April brings some takeout. I'm starving," he thinks. But the lights suddenly come on as the turtles find Casey and April waiting for them. "Check it out. Looks like we got some nasty cockroaches sneaking around the place," Casey says to her mother. The turtles stare in surprise for a moment. "It was Uno's idea!" Odin blurts out. "Dude!" Uno shouts at his brother. Casey and April are angry and disappointed at the teens, telling them that they're both too tired to think of a punishment at this moment. "You said the next time we snuck out, we were supposed to get 6 months of restriction," Guy reminds them. "Yay! What the hell?" Moja shouts at her sister. And April finally gets up to order a pizza, but Casey's phone suddenly buzzes. "Crap, that's the emergency line," she says, and answers the phone to hear the commander asking for her help. That the armory and the food bank are both being hit by raiders, and he needs her team to secure the food bank. "But my guys have gone 2 weeks straight without a break, Commander," Casey says in surprise. "Anyone you can find, Casey, they're being overrun," the commander shouts. So Casey hangs up the phone, unsure of what to do, but her eyes fall to the shrine of the old turtles and their master. She turns back to her own group of teens, trained, but still untested in combat. And finally, she closes her eyes for a moment before nodding. "Kids, grab your gear. Weapons too. Time to fight," she says as she turns to get ready. "Casey, it is too soon. Let's talk about this," April says, ignoring the teens' cheers of joy. But Casey turns to her mother. "No time to argue, Mom. It's up to us. I'm sorry." Within a short amount of time, the team arrives at the food bank, now overrun by gang raiders, who are setting fires and stealing all of the food. "Nothing too fancy, just follow my lead," Casey tells the kids. She rushes forward, hitting the first raider. "Don't you idiots know everything here is already free?" Casey says as she grabs one of them, throwing him outside. "All you gotta do is get in line, just like everyone else," she says. But the turtles are frozen by the fighting, unsure of what to do. Casey hits a few more goons that rush her. "Hey, ninjas! This is what you've been training all your lives for! Quit standing around and fight!" she shouts to the teens. Uno nods, leading his siblings into the battle. Yeet leaps over some of the raiders' heads, landing, hitting them with her quarterstaff. Uno jumps in with his sword, slashing and taking the raiders down. Moja pulls out her sais, leaping and kicking amongst the fighters. Only Odin stands there quietly, staring at the fighting, unsure of what to do. Casey is still battling, ducking under attacks, landing punches and kicks, giving her kids lessons as she goes. "Watch all incoming attack angles, weapons at the ready, know your next strike before you finish the first, and always cover each other's backs," she shouts out as she knees another goon. Hearing his mother's words, Odin prepares himself, pulling out his massive nunchucks. "Yes, Sensei," he whispers, and he turns as a goon rushes at him with a hammer. The goon swings it hard and fast, but Odin's eyes suddenly widen in fear, and he completely freezes, his body becoming stone. The hammer cracks over his head, but merely breaks in half as the turtles rush to their brother's side, their eyes widening in shock. "What the hell happened?" Casey asks as she joins them, but Moja shakes her head. "We don't know, Sensei. It's like he's frozen solid," she says quietly as the turtles reach for their brother. And that concludes the brand new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the continuation to Last Ronin. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below, because it is a big change up for this entire franchise. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time right here.